Alright. Shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations to the Akim out there, spreading this truth like wildfire, in all truthfulness and in all sincerity. And shalom to the rest of the hopeful elect out there. Got this article that just came out, man. It just came out, and it goes into. Oh, I discovered it like. I'm just gonna go into the article, and it goes into this former Abercrombie and Fitch chief. I know a lot of y'all is familiar with that brand. Mike Jeffries arrested on federal sex trafficking charges. This fucking Edomite right here, man. And his partner, who was also a man. New York AP former Abercrombie and Fitch CEO Mike Jeffries, his romantic partner, and a third man were arrested Tuesday on charges of luring men into drug-laced, outlandish, and coercive sex parties held around the world by dangling the promise of modeling for the big retailers once defining beefcake ads. For almost 20 years, Jeffries' partner Matthew Smith and their employee James Jacobson used Jeffries' status, wealth, and a web of household staffers to fulfill the couple's sexual desires in what amounted to an international sex trafficking and prostitution business, and to keep it all secret, according to an indictment unsealed in federal court in Brooklyn. Quote unquote, to anyone who thinks that they can exploit and coerce others by using this so-called casting couch system. That's what they was doing. This case shall serve as a warning. So this is some Diddy shit. You already know. But is it going to be all over the news like Diddy was? Like Diddy's case was? You already know it's not. But let me keep reading. Brooklyn-based U.S. Attorney Breon Peace said at a news conference, quote-unquote, sexually exploiting vulnerable human beings is a crime, and doing so by dangling dreams of a future in fashion and modeling is no different, quote-unquote. He added, James Dennehy, the assistant director of the FBI's New York office, called the allegations abhorrent. They follow and sometimes echo sexual misconduct accusations made in lawsuits and the media by young people who said Jeffries promised modeling work and then pressed them into sex acts. Jeffries' attorney, hey, who knows how young they was too, man. These devils, man. Jeffries' attorney, well, a lot of them was like teenagers and shit, Jeffries' attorney, Brian Bieber, and Smith's lawyer, Joseph Nascimento, and David Rabin, said in an email they would respond to the allegations in court. Messages seeking comment were sent to Jacobson's attorney. Jacobson had said previously that he didn't engage in or know about any coercive, deceptive, or forceful behavior, because of course he's not going to admit it. All three defendants were due later Tuesday in various courts. Jeffries and Smith in Florida, where they were taken into custody, and Jacobson in St. Paul, Minnesota, after his arrest in Wisconsin. The three are charged with sex trafficking and interstate prostitution involving 15 named accusers. According to the indictment, they paid for dozens of men to travel within the U.S. and internationally to engage in paid sex with them and other men in New York and at hotels in England, France, Italy, Morocco, and St. Bart's between 2008 and 2015. The sometimes graphic indictment describes sexual bacchanals. Look into what that is. Basically goes into the worship of the Greek so-called, the Greek god, because the gods of the heathens are idols and demons, right? Bacchus, who is the god of wine and pleasure, in which that's why they're called that, in which the recruited men were given drugs, lubricant, condoms, costumes, sex toys, and sometimes erection-inducing penile injections that caused painful hours-long reactions. The men were informed of all the events that would entail, including some of the sexual practices they'd be expected to engage in, and they were required to give up their clothes and cell phones during the gatherings and sign non-disclosure agreements afterward, the indictment said. The defendants led the men. Hold on. Yo, slack it. Hold on. Slack it. My bad. But anyways, the defendants led the men to believe that attending the events would help their careers, meaning their chances of getting Abercrombie modeling gigs, or that not complying could harm their prospects, the indictment said. It said that in some instances the men got itineraries that looked like those often sent to models for photo shoots, leaving the men in the dark about what they were signing up for. Jeffries and Smith employed Jacobson to recruit and hire the men, who typically had to undergo tryouts by having sex with Jacobson first, according to the indictment. It says other unnamed household staffers also helped facilitate the events, including by acting as security and providing alcohol, muscle relaxants, Viagra, and other items. The men were subject to some sex acts without consent, so they were raped. And when witnesses threatened to expose what was going on, Jeffries and Smith used a security company to surveil and intimidate them into silence, according to a letter that prosecutors filed in court. Peace said at the news conference that prosecutors have, quote-unquote, a lot of evidence, including travel records, financial documents, and testimony from accusers and witnesses. Jeffries became CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch in 1992 and left in 2014. The New Albany, Ohio-based company, which also encompasses Hollister and other brands, declined to comment on his arrest. Prosecutors don't allege that the company's resources or property were used in the alleged sex scheme. Abercrombie said last year that it had hired an outside law firm to conduct an independent investigation after the BBC reported on similar allegations from a dozen men. A lawsuit filed in New York last year accused Abercrombie of allowing Jeffries to run a sex trafficking organization during his 22-year tenure, with modeling scouts scouring the internet for victims. At the time, Bieber declined to comment on the allegations. Abercrombie and Fitch traces his roots to a hunting and outdoors goods store that was founded in 1892. By the time Jeffries arrived a century later, the brand was a retail also ran. He was credited with transforming it into a darling of turn of the millennium teen mall culture, known for its nouveau preppy aesthetic and for its sexy ads and store events featuring, well, according to people who would think that is, of course, no Diddy, I ain't like that, featuring shirtless, muscular male models. Jeffries talked openly about how the company went after attractive kids who could fit into his clothes. Those remarks alienated customers who didn't fit, literally or otherwise. I remember hearing about this too. The brand's image and the 2008 financial crisis and subsequent recession prompted some teens to look to less expensive, quote-unquote, fast fashion chains. A&F's popularity started to fade again. By the time Jeffries left, the company's sales were slumping and the hedge fund had pushed the board to replace him. A few months later, the retailer announced it would stop using quote-unquote sexualized photos and marketing materials in the shops, calling store staffers models, quote-unquote, and requiring them to adhere to a look policy that banned eyeliner and certain hairstyles. The company told regional managers it wouldn't, quote unquote, tolerate discrimination based on body type or physical attractiveness. The company has rebounded in recent years. But this is what was going on behind the scenes, man. This is the type of shit that was going on behind the scenes. And this is just like the type of shit that they would do during in ancient Rome, man, and Greece. This is the type of shit that these Edomites would do, man. It's called pederasty, man. They go after young, young, young. Yep, they go after young men, and it's sexual activity involving a man and a boy or youth. You know, that's what they would do, man. This is what they were into. Early 17th century, from modern Latin pederasty, from Greek pederastia, from pays, paid boy, and erastus lover, man. It's what they would fucking do, bro. Back in ancient Rome, man, in Greece. Pederasty or pederasty is a sexual relationship between an adult man and a boy. It was a sexually acknowledged practice in ancient Greece and Rome and elsewhere in the world, such as pre-Meiji Japan, so Ammon got down that way as well. In most countries today, the local age of consent determines whether a person is considered legally competent to consent to sexual acts and whether such contact is child sexual abuse or statutory rape, grape, you know. An adult engaging in sexual activity with a minor is considered abusive by authorities for a variety of reasons, including the age of the minor and the psychological and physical harm that they may endure. I'm gonna get down to the point though. Etymology and usage. Pederasty derives from the combination of ancient Greek, and it basically goes back to boy lover. Late Latin pederasta was borrowed in the 16th century directly from Plato's classical Greek in the Symposium. You know, the word first appeared in the English language during the Renaissance. Figures as pederasty, e.g., in Samuel's purchases, pilgrims, and the sense of sexual relations between men and boys. The Oxford English Dictionary defines it as quote-unquote homosexual relations between a man and a boy, homosexual, all that, man, all that shit, man, you see it, you know, basically, like, them taking the booty as well, you know, usually with a boy or younger man as the passive partner. Dude, you have these British cigarettes doing this shit today, man. They're called you have this shit called, it's basically pederasty, but you have these British cigarettes basically doing this. It's called like something about a hawk or some shit. And these British cigarettes will look for younger men, like much younger men, or even like boys, to get down with and shit. You know, hey, they sick, bro. Pederasty in ancient Greece was a socially acknowledged. It was socially acknowledged romantic relationship between an adult male, the Erastes, and the younger male, the Eromenos, usually in his teens. The age difference between the socially powerful, and he was socially powerful too. This is what it was. A socially less powerful partner was characteristic of the archaic and classical periods in both heterosexual and homosexual relationships. The influence of pederasty on Greek culture of these periods was so pervasive that it has been called, quote-unquote, the principal cultural model for free relationships between citizens. The practice was viewed with concerns and disapproval by certain social groups. In some Greek cities such as Sparta, Jake was going off, bro. Pederastic relationships were explicitly accepted. They became Hellenized, bro. That's what happened with Jake over there. In other areas, locations such as Athens, laws were eventually enacted to limit such relationships. Because we know the Lacedaemonians were Jakes, right? They embraced that Greek way, man. But in other locations such as Athens, laws were eventually enacted to limit such relationships, though not explicitly prohibit all instances of them. I'm gonna keep reading. In the writings of Xenophon, Socrates said, "A man who sells his favors for a price to anyone who wants them is called a catamite. But if anyone forms a love attachment with someone who he knows to be truly good, we regard him as perfectly respectable." Quote unquote. In the writings of Plato, Socrates considered pederasty as a superior form of love compared to the love of women. That dude, he was one as well, man. He was British cigarette, man. Each author may have used Socrates as a spokesman for their own viewpoint. The Socratic writings of the two authors were one of the main texts that led to Kenneth Dover's and Michael Foucault's understanding of pederasty as a matter of debate in ancient Greece. Some scholars locate its origin in initiation ritual. Shit, even Japhet was getting down like that, because they're heathens. Particularly rites of passage on Crete, where it was associated with entrance into military life in the religion of Zeus. It has no formal, but Esau took it like even further though. It has no formal existence in the Homeric epics and seems to have developed in the late 7th century BC as an aspect of Greek homosocial culture, which was also characterized also by athletic and artistic nudity, delayed marriage for aristocrats, symposia. I don't know what the fuck that is. Symposia shit is. And I'm gonna get to the point though, but I might look that up. And the social seclusion of women. Pederasty was both idolized and criticized in ancient literature and philosophy. The argument has been made that idolization was universal in the archaic period. Criticism began in Athens as part of the general classical Athenian reassessment of archaic culture. Scholars have debated the role or extent of pederasty, which is likely to have varied according to local custom and individual inclination. Athenian law, for instance, recognized both consent and age as factors in regulating, sexual behavior. Annette Block argues that many Greek boys in these relationships may have been traumatized by knowing that they are violating social customs, since, quote unquote, the most shameful thing that could happen to any Greek male was penetration by another male, quote unquote. I'd say especially the Jakes, man, that were among them, because they knew that shit was off, dude. She further argues that vases showing, quote unquote, a boy standing perfectly still as a man reaches out, what the fuck, for his genitals, quote unquote, indicates that the boy may have been, quote unquote, psychologically immobilized, unable to move or run away, quote unquote. Dude, so basically the same shit was going on back then. One vase shows a young man or boy running away from Eros, the Greek god of desire. Dude, ancient Rome. In Latin, this picture shows Zeus or Jupiter in the form of an eagle abducting this what appears to be young man, First century AD wasn't when Esau was ruling. Believe so, yeah. Roman bas relief. In Latin, mos Graecae or mos Graecorum, Greek custom or the way of the Greeks, refers to a variety of behaviors that the ancient Romans regarded as Greek, including but not confined to sexual practice. Homosexual behaviors at Rome were acceptable only within an inherently unequal relationship. Male Roman citizens retained their masculinity as long as they took the active penetrating role. And the appropriate male sexual partner was a prostitute or slave, who would nearly always be non-Roman. In archaic and classical Greek, paiderastia had been a formal social relationship between freeborn males taken out of context and refashioned as the luxury product of a conquered people. Pederasty came to express roles based on domination and exploitation. Slaves were often given, and prostitutes sometimes assumed, Greek names regardless of their ethnic origin. The boys, Curie, to whom the poet Martial is attracted, have Greek names. The use of slaves defined Roman pederasty. Sexual practices were somehow quote-unquote Greek when they were directed at quote-unquote freeborn boys openly courted in accordance with the Hellenic tradition of pederasty, quote-unquote. Effeminacy or a lack of discipline in managing one's sexual attraction to another male threatened a man's Romanness, because even they knew that shit was off, quote-unquote, and thus might be disparaged as Eastern or Greek, quote-unquote. Fears that Greek models might, quote-unquote, corrupt traditional Roman social codes. The Mos Maiorum seems to have prompted a vaguely documented law, Lex Scantia, that attempted to regulate aspects of homosexual relationships between freeborn males and to protect Roman youth from older men emulating Greek customs of pederasty. Theologian Edith Humphrey commented that the Greco-Roman ideal regarding homosexuality entailed erotic love, not of children but of young teenage males of the same age that a young woman would be given in marriage, and that frequently the more mature male was only slightly older than the partner. Of course, he's gonna say that, but look. Like, basically, bruh, this shit ain't nothing new, bro. And they're gonna go into how it went down in, oh shit, let's go to Victorian England, bro. When these Edomites was taking back control, man. Was that during that period. Victorian England. Classical studies during the time of the Victorian era rapidly changed with the exploration of what ancient Greece had to offer, quickly garnering admiration by those in study and capturing the attention of Victorian writers, holding esteem of the Greeks, as they were the same people. The Victorians began to model, or Edomites, both Edomites, began to model and apply Greek concepts and move more onto their modern life. The application of Greek philosophy manifested with the Victorians' examination of Plato, and subsequently the Greek concept of pederasty, which had them evaluating and applying this conception of intimate Greek encounters to those found within the Victorian era. The fascination of admiration led to works of literature which commemorated pederasty and same-sex love by numerous individuals of this time, such as John Addington Symonds with his essay A Problem in Greek Ethics, quote-unquote, or Oscar Wilde with his novel The Picture of Dorian Gray. And that dude was like a freak, like a real freak, Oscar Wilde, dude, when you look into him. While there was a celebration of same-sex love to be found in pederasty by some individuals during this time, hey, bro, ultimately there was backlash, man, because they was still coming out that rule of Jake, man. Jake put that shit to rest, man. There was also moral repudiation of it, as well that found pederasty to be a degradation of the youthful soul. This view was put into law within the with the Criminal Law Amendment Act 1885 under Section 11, the Allowable Chair Amendment. It was this piece of legislation that cemented the discussion on pederasty and its reception by the public and mainstream media with the legal prosecution of Oscar Wilde, you know, whose novel A Picture of Dorian Gray was used as evidence to secure his imprisonment and conviction, labeling him as a sodomite, quote unquote, which he was, under the eyes of the law. Pederasty is also associated with the ancient 19th century decadent movement, which took place amongst the European literate and artistic community. The Greek practice was also used by decadents to reinforce their own identity and nonconformance with heterosexuality. So they tried that, that British cigarette shit, during that time too, man. And people wasn't fucking with it. Differences between Victorian and ancient Greek pederasty. Though Victorians took inspiration from the Greeks regarding pederastic relationships, the social context of Victorian pederasty was different from Greek pederasty. Victorian pederasty did not share the factor of community acknowledgement. Yeah, because they wasn't with that shit back then. The Victorian era also lacked the notion that asymmetry in relationships, including age disparity and social status, was to be expected and aspired to. Sandra Boehringer and Stefano, what the fuck, something like that, Cassiagli or some shit like that, Cassiagli, I guess that's how you pronounce it, comment that Greek and other ancient societies, they're probably both, no, they are both Edomites, commented that because of what they want to try to say, that Greek and other ancient societies existed, quote unquote, before sexuality, having a preference for gender or age did not assign a label to a relationship. But this did not, and this is what they want to bring back too, man. But this did not preclude groups from disapproving of or enacting laws against pederastic practices, because that shit's off. But yeah, mid-century Victorian England and shit, yeah, you had these, dude, they was sick. These Edomites were getting into that shit, man. They were getting into that shit, man. They was like, dude. There was an Oxford cult of boy worship to surface and influenced the upbringing of the Uranian literary movement, which celebrated heavenly love between men. The fuck, nigga. Because that's what Esau is really into, man. Esau ain't into females. But let me get, he's into dudes, man. But let me get Deuteronomy 32 and 32. For their vine is of the vine of Sodom, and of the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of gall. Their clusters are bitter. Verse 33, their wine is the poison of dragons and the cruel venom of asps. It's talking about our adversaries, man. Particularly our biggest one, which is Esau Edom. And Esau is also called a fornicator, and that is meant in not just one way, but in other ways, man. And it's meant in a literal way as well, because people will try to say that it's not, but it's meant in that way as well, as you can see. Come on, man, that's weird. Hebrews 12 and 16, because it wasn't showing up, but it was a spelling. Hebrews 12 and 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. So any unclean sex act, you know, they are gonna fucking embrace, you know. Who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Verse 17, for you know that afterward when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he saw it carefully with tears. You know? Ultimately, Esau, he's that vessel in the dishonor, man. That's what he ultimately is. Romans 9 and 21. Had not the power. Hey, verse 20, man. Why would the Lord make them like this? Because there's a race of people that basically is going to be an example of what not to be, man. A nation of people, rather. That's going to be, because race really goes back to Raza, which really goes back to Ra'ash, meaning head. You know, really, who's really the head of the real head? Not the head right now, but the real head. You know, it's the Israelites. So ultimately, they're not the Ra'ash, so I'd rather call them a nation of people. So these are a nation of people that was created as an example of what not to be, man. But verse 20, nay, but all man, but who art thou that repliest against the Most High power Yahweh? Shall a thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? Hey, that's how you know that's the serpent too, man. Yahweh Shem Yahushai, well, the Most High Yahweh, you know. He told Adam, you know, nah, bro, like, don't eat of that fruit, you know, which was talking about philosophies. That tree of knowledge of good and evil in itself, that it implies that it was philosophies that were the fruit, man. And when you look into the word for serpent, it's the word nakash, which goes into a witch, you know, or warlock. That's just the male version. And that's exactly who the serpent was, man. Pushing them philosophies of wickedness. Verse 21, you know, which Eve, you know, she saw and she embraced it, you know, and then Adam just listened to Eve, bro. You know, and that's how our people first fell. That was the first fall, you know, of our people, man. But verse 20 though, nay, O man, who art thou that repliest against the Most High power Yahweh? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? Verse 21, had not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel into honor and another into dishonor? You know, one was made a vessel unto honor, and one was made unto dishonor. Esau, Jacob. Verse 22, what if the Most High power Yahweh, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endure with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? Which is why they think they're winning, and they could do whatever the fuck they want, and their pride is gone to their head. Verse 23, and that he might have my bad, I misspoke. He might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy, which he had afore prepared unto glory. Verse 24, even us whom he hath called, not of the Jews only, but also the Gentiles, and those were Israelites as well. Verse 25, as he saith also in Hosea, I will call them Hosea, which is really Hosea, I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which was not beloved. Verse 26, and it shall come to pass in the place where it was said, ye are not my people, there shall they be called, the children of the living power Yahweh. You know, and that's talking about Jacob, man. It's talking about Jacob there, man, because Jacob was. It was told to Jacob that you're not the Lord's people, man. You're Gentiles, man. You're heathens. You're what you call it? You're black. You're Latino. You're native. You're among the, whatever byword you are, among these heathens, man, in Esau. You're that. That's you. And they have a negative byword, and then they have a false identity. Like, that's how they do it. But yeah, the so-called Gentiles that Paul was going to, man, those are Israelites, Hellenized Jews. That's who they was. Which you had an early example of that in the Spartans, man. But yeah. But and in 27, Isaiah also cries, because Isaiah is Isaiah, also cries concerning Israel, though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea. And it describes, that matches up with Hosea 2, where the Israelites are said to be as the sand of the sea, and it's true. A remnant shall be saved, Basically, it was making the difference between Jake that was of the elect, and Jake that is of the elect, and Jake that is 2/3. Jake that's going to stay wicked till the end, so they get destroyed. But anyways, who's the vessels of destruction? Who's the vessels of dishonor, man? The vessels of wrath fitted to destruction. That would be Esau, Edom, man. That would be Esau, Edom. Malachi 3, my bad, 2, my bad, 1. Verse 2. I have loved you, saith Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith Yahweh Hashem Yahushai? Yet I love Jacob. Verse 3. And I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Verse 4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh Hashem Yahushai of hosts. They shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh Hashem Yahushai hath indignation forever. So they are the border of wickedness. Wherever they at, wickedness is there, basically. And the people against whom Yahweh Hashem Yahushai hath indignation forever, man. Wherever this Edomite devil, these Edomite devils that were doing that shit at Abercrombie and Fitch was at, wickedness was there, man. And you see why they're called the people against whom Yahweh Hashem Yahushai had indignation forever, aka the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction. What destruction? Obadiah 1 and 18 ultimately. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall be not be any remaining of the house of Esau. For Yahweh Hashem Yahushai has spoken it. This is literally Edomite genocide, What these average Edomites be so shook about, and what Amalek be so shook about, man. It's eventually gonna happen, because Amalekites are Edomites. It's eventually gonna happen, It's biblical prophecy, but it's gonna happen at the end of a 1,000-year portion of the kingdom, where all the heathens is slaves, under us. And then all these heathens is gonna go back to their land. But Esau, Edom, he's gonna be done away with as a nation. Because Esau, Edom is the wicked. Isaiah 14. Oh, Khan, because he is Lucifer, man. He was given that He was mockingly given that label, Lucifer, you know. That's Esau Edom. I'm going to read all this. Who runs modern day Babylon the Great, you know. Isaiah 14:18. All the kings of the nations, even all of them lie in glory, everyone in his own house. Verse 19. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with the sword, that go down to the stones of the pit as a carcass trodden under feet. Verse 20. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. Verse 21. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Because that's reincarnation is real, bro. They're gonna come back. Those souls are gonna come back and do the same shit, man. That do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Verse 22. This is also proof, because at the same time Yahweh Bashem Yahushai says that the children is not to pay for the sins of the father. But it's talking when the scriptures say fathers. When the scriptures say fathers, it doesn't just mean your immediate father. It means your grandfather, great grandfather. You know, because that, you know, great great grandfather, because it really goes back 3 or 4 generations. That's the last time you was around, man. 3 or 4 generations. So they're not gonna. Basically, reincarnation is real, man. Verse 22. For I will rise up against them, saith Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name, a remnant and son and nephew, saith Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. You know? Talking about the people who run Babylon, man. The nation who runs Babylon. Starting with who? The elites. But also Edomites such as, were like, basically lower level luminaries, such as the former CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch, man. And Edomites such as Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg as well. Verse 23. Well, hey, you know, verse 22 is the point, man. It shows you it's talking about Esau. But yeah, you know, that's the vessel. Those are the vessels of dishonor. The vessels of wrath fitted to destruction. The wicked, you know, born that way, man. You know, all these British cigarettes always say they was born that way. Well, you know, these Edomites, they're of the vine of Sodom, man. So guess what? It applies to them, you know. Firstly, you know, applies to them. And actually, really, you know, for the most part, it applies to them. They just a lot of these Edomites, they just keep it on the wraps, man. That's what they do. Because Esau wants to seem like he's the righteous and shit, you know. But Esau keeps that on the wraps and, you know, does it behind closed doors, you know, closed doors and shit, you know. That's what Esau does. Versus Jake, when they're being wicked, Jake flaunts it, you know. That's the difference. So when Jake's a British cigarette, Jake shows the whole world that he is. You know, they declare their sin in Sodom, man. They declare their sin in Sodom, man. Maybe it's spelled different. Damn, bro. let me get this. Woe unto their soul, because that goes along with it. Because you 2/3 is going to be destroyed for embracing the ways of Esau, Edom, and the heathen, man. Isaiah 3 and 9. Oh, but I'm gonna start at verse 8. For Jerusalem is ruined and Judah is fallen, because their tongue and their doings are against Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, to provoke the eyes of his glory. Verse 9 shows it right here. The show of their countenance doth witness against them. They declare their sin as Sodom. They hide it not. Woe unto their soul, for they have rewarded evil unto themselves, man. Jake flaunts it, man. Whenever Jake is doing wickedness, they let you know. They flaunt it, man. Pretty much is what they do. The average Jake out here is what they do, man. When they're into like I mentioned, British cigarettes, man. They're proud to be that way. They flaunt it. When they're adulterers, man, or adulteresses, they flaunt it. Whenever they murder another Jake, man, they flaunt it, man. Put it on IG Live, man. Facebook Live, bro. Put it on all that shit. Put it on right on social media. Fucking broadcast it. That's what Jake does. Cause it's fucked up. How our people are, and they want to be just like the wicked. And they think that's a flex. 2/3 of our people want to be just like the wicked. Because, hey, they envious of the foolish, but how they go about it is the wrong way, man. They join themselves unto these devils, man. Isaiah 13 and 15. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. That's what's going to happen. And it's going to happen to 2/3, because 2/3 are joined unto these devils, man. Like, I'm going to even say this. I bet you had 2/3 niggas, going along with what that Abercrombie and Fitch dude was doing, man. I bet you had 2/3 niggas going along with it, because this is what I could come up in this world, man. Be a male model for Abercrombie and Fitch. I could come up. So they were enticed, man. They were enticed by this rich man, this Edomite. Rich in resources, but not in spirit. But let me get Ecclesiastes. Hey, rich in the fatness of the earth, man. Oh, Khan, man. This all day, man. The Ecclesiastes chapter 13, man. He that toucheth pitch, they're compared to that as well, shall be defiled therewith. And he that had fellowship with a proud man shall be like unto him. Verse 2, burden, because he's going to be taking advice from this devil, and everything as well, man. He's going to trust this devil, man. So this devil's going to mold him into one of his, What happened with Diddy, man. Clive Davis did that shit. Verse 2, burden not thyself above thy power, while thou livest, and have no fellowship with one that is mightier and richer than thyself. For how agree the kettle and the earthen pot together? For if the one be smitten against the other, it shall be broken. Exactly, these devils got more power than you. Verse 3, the rich man hath done wrong, and yet he threateneth withal. The poor is wronged, and he must entreat also. And that's reality, man. That's reality, man. These elites can, which are Edomites, they have done wrong, and they still threaten. The poor is wrong, and he must entreat also. Like, he's still gotta, like, apologize and shit, even after being wronged. Kanye West, he's rich as fuck, but he's considered a poor man to these elites, man. Kanye West, Kyrie Irving, Kyrie Irving, all he did was post a movie. All he did about that, like, kind of goes into how the real Israelites are so-called black, and man, they basically it was like a public lynching, man. That's what it was. That was the response to it. And he must entreat also. He had to well, he didn't have to, but to keep that lifestyle, he had to apologize, man. But that's why you can't have that mindset of the rich young ruler, man. You gotta have that mindset of Moses, who was considered a prince, but he saw what the Egyptians was doing to his people, and he said, I ain't fucking with it, basically. Verse 5, if thou have anything, he will live. Hey, the mindset of Moses is the mindset of the elect, man. But verse 4, if thou be for his prophet, he will use thee. But if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee. Verse 5, if thou have anything, he will live with thee. He will make thee bear, and will not be sorry for it. If thou have anything, he will live with thee. He will make thee bear, and will not be sorry for it. Verse 6, if he have need of thee, he will deceive thee. Verse 6 is really coming down to it, that point. And smile upon thee, and put thee in hope. And you could be a model for Abercrombie and Fitch, man. Just come to this party, man. We got you. We got you, man. Just come to this party. That's probably what they were told, man. And put thee in hope. He will speak thee fair and say, what wantest thou, man? What do you want? I'll get it for you. Verse 7, and he will shame thee by his meats, until he have drawn thee dry twice or thrice. The thrice is like 3 times, in case you don't know. He will shame thee by his meats, man. Man. Gifts. Just buttering you up, man. Until he have drawn thee dry twice or thrice. And at the last he will laugh thee to scorn. Afterward, when he seeth thee, he will forsake thee and shake his head at thee. They were used for a purpose, man. Particularly these young men were used for because this devil was a British cigarette, man. So they were used for his sexual gratification. That's what they were used for. Verse 8, beware that thou be not deceived. Don't be deceived and brought down in thy jealousy, man. Bro. Hey, man, this chapter is fire as well, man. This chapter is fire as well, man. Not to trust these devils, it goes in further. Verse 9, if thou be invited of a mighty man, and their power and clout makes them mighty, withdraw thyself, and so much, it says so much more he will invite thee, Verse 10, which is true, they're still going to try to get to you, man. Verse 10, press thou not upon them, lest thou be put back, stand not afar, lest thou be forgotten. Verse 11, affect not to be made equal unto them in talk. Really goes in, man. Jake we just want equality with these devils, man. How Jake is, man. And believe not his many words, man. But just equal in talk, man. That's all it is. And believe not his many words, for with much communication will he tempt thee, and smiling upon thee will get out thy secrets, man. Man. This is how this devil works, man. Verse 12, but cruelly he will lay up thy words and will not spare to do thee hurt and put thee in prison, man. After he's done with your ass, yeah. Verse 13, observe and take good heed. Hey, Diddy's going through that. Verse 3, observe and take good heed, for thou walkest in peril of thy overthrowing. When thou hearest these things, awake in thy sleep. Wake the fuck up. And let me get to Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 15. Goes into this as well. Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. You know? Basically, that, so that's what they're doing, man, because they drug these men up. They drug these men up, and they have them do compromising shit. It's not just for sexual gratification either, but for blackmail purposes. You know? For that as well. You know, like Diddy. And they're not allowed to bring cell phones in. They're not allowed. They have to turn in their clothes when they get in. You know? That's how this devil gets down, man. But yeah, man. Hey, ancient Rome, Hey, let me get that, man. Because it's the same people doing the same shit, man. Ancient Rome, they was doing it. Ancient Greece, they was doing it. Victorian England, they was doing it for a period of time. Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. The thing that hath been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. Verse 10, is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It had been already of old time which was before us. Verse 11, there is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come, with those that shall come after, you know? Because it's the same people doing the same shit, but that no one remembers that past life. So they don't remember that they was those people doing the same shit, you know? Except for the very elites that have the records, but you know, that's because they have the records. They don't remember it off the bat, you know? But these average people out here doing the shit that they doing, you know, even the lower echelons of the elites and shit, you know, don't really know like the elites, you know, don't really know that they is those people. Well, some of them might, but some of them don't. But that they is those people that did that shit way back then, you know, they literally is, and that they're doing the same shit today, man. It's like the prophets, you know, the prophets and the prophets, friends of the prophets, they in their lot doing the same thing today, man. You know? So like everybody is in their lot. Everybody's in their role, man. It's in Daniel, like Daniel, where it talks about, you know, the lot. Pretty sure. Daniel, oh, it said the lot, you know, that's why I couldn't find it. Daniel 12 and 13, but go thou thy way to the end be, for thou shalt rest, and stand in thy law at the end of the days, proving reincarnation as well. The rest is talking about death. Which you hear that saying, death sleep is a cousin of death, is the cousin of death, is true. Death is referred to as sleep, like in many places in the scriptures, man. Because it basically is a form of sleep. But it's your soul. It's your soul resting and sleeping. It's what it is. Then when you come back, and, come back in that body, you're awake now. But it's such a sleep that, you don't really remember, really, you forget, what you forget what you did in your past life, man. You forget it. You don't consciously remember it. But yeah. But yeah, man, hey, what was done in ancient Greece, what was done in ancient Rome, and you know that shit picked up steam during Alexandria era, man, because Alexandria era and even after, you know that shit picked up steam, because this right here tells you that shit, man. 1 Maccabees 1, I'm gonna get 7, 8, and 9. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. Verse 8, and the servants bare rule everyone in his place. Now Alexander himself was a freak. He was a British cigarette. Verse 8, and the servants bare rule everyone in his place. Verse 9, and after his death they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them. Many years and evils were multiplied in the earth. What does it say? What does the scripture say about the wicked? Showing you that they were Edomites. When the vilest men are exalted. Let me get it. Psalms 12 and 8. The wicked walk on every side when the vilest men are exalted. And these were real freaks and demons, man, that were being exalted just like today, man. And what's going on? The wicked are walking on every side like they run this shit, because on this side they do. On this side they do. So that's how evil is multiplied, man. Evil's bad times is multiplied, man. Because the wicked ruling causes bad times, man. Causes evils. Let me get which is why when the wicked rule, the people mourn, man. And we was mourning back then during the time of the Greek-speaking Edomites ruling, and we're mourning today in the age of the English-speaking Edomites ruling. Proverbs 29 and 2. When the righteous are in authority, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So right now the people are mourning, So even the animals, man. Even the animals is mourning, man. The scriptures tell you that. The whole creation groaneth, man. Because the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. Romans 8 and 22. For we know that the whole creation groaneth, and travaileth in pain together until now. Why then? Because Yahushua was the first from the dead, man. You know? Really, it goes also into the congregation of the dead. Because Yahushua himself, he was around before, man. He was around as Solomon. When you go into it, you know, beaten with many stripes. That didn't happen during Solomon's time, even though he went off. It happened when he was Yahushua, man. He was beaten with the stripes of men, is what I'm referring to. Hey, Isaac, that's Yahushua. Hey, Adam, that's Yahushua, man. The second Adam and the first were both the same spirit when you look into it. And he is the first from the dead, man. That's also has that meaning as well, because he that remaineth, he that wandereth out of the way of understanding, shall remain in the congregation of the dead. You know, which is the 2/3. But Yahushua was the first from the dead, man. First, like, to be raised up, basically, when you look into it. Hold on. And also, literally, he was resurrected. But yeah, it has more than one meaning, you know. Firstborn from the dead. Colossians 1:18, speaking of Yahushua. Colossians 1:18, and he is the head of the body, the church, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he might have the preeminence. All things he might have the preeminence. So, you know, that's Yahushua, man. But yeah, you know, that's why it's said until now. Because that was the beginning of that process. You know, later on, the elect would be risen up. The elect would be freed from the chains of darkness that we're in, man. Later on, the elect, and then in the kingdom, the 2/3 all going to be in their right mind, man. All of Israel shall be saved, man. Romans 8 and 28, and we know all things work together for good to them that love the Most High Power Yahweh, and to them who are called according to his purpose. Verse 29, for whom he did know, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn amongst many brethren. Hey, also there, going into the same thing. Verse 30, moreover, whom he did predestinate, then he also called, and whom he called, them he also justified, and whom he justified, them he also glorified, man. You know, but it goes in. But yeah. And that really should help, because like, basically, we waiting on that day, we hastening that day when we're gonna be released from these bonds, man, from captivity, from the chains of darkness, these weak ass bodies, man. You know, and risen up, changed. we shall be changed. 1 Corinthians 15 and 52. In a moment, on verse 50, verse 49, man. Verse 49. I'm going to read it from 47. The first man is of the earth, earthy. The second man is Lord from heaven, you know. Hey, Yahweh Shai, man. Verse 48. As in the earthy, such as they are that are earthy, as in the heavenly, such as they are, they also that are heavenly. Verse 49 is, as we have borne the image of the earthy, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly. Verse 50. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of the Most High power Yahweh. Neither doth corruption inherit incorruption. You know, verse 51. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. It's talking about the time of the end. You know, because obviously they died, right? Meaning they slept, right? So it's talking about the end. You know, when basically, like, when the elect is reincarnated again, you know, living through that last captivity, man. The last captivity. His people will say, hey, that's a contradiction, but nah, man. It's not when you really understand the scriptures. Verse 52, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. That part in parentheses. Verse 53, for this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. Verse 54, when this corruption shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall put on immortality, then it shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. Because there will be no more need for that, because basically we're not going to be able to sin, you know. We're not going to be able to break the law, statutes, and commandments no more, man. So all that, you know, even the fact that we go off is gonna basically be fixed with these new bodies, man. Because the law, statutes, and commandments is literally gonna be written on inward parts, literally our DNA, man. It's gonna be written in it. Which is why it says this in 55, verse 55. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? Verse 56. The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law, because the law tells you what sin is. But we ain't going to be able to sin no more, man, basically. The law is going to be written in our inward parts. We ain't going to need to, like, have it with us to read, you know. You know, it's going to be in our inward parts. It's going to be in our DNA. We're naturally not going to want to eat abominable flesh, you know. We're naturally not going to want to commit adultery, homosexuality, any unclean sex acts. Naturally not going to want to, not even tempted to, commit all that, man. Because basically, then would be the time for us to be risen up, you know. Because if we could go off again, then our people would go into the curses and go into captivity again. But that's not going to happen, because, hey, this is the last captivity, man. The last time, man. Hey, Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. 2 Ezra 6 and 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? Verse 8. And he saith unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. Verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. That's why, And Esau's blessing, it's limited, Jacob's blessing is eternal. So when we get that ultimate blessing, we got a taste of it during King David and Solomon. We even got a little taste of it during the Dark Ages, man. But it's just a taste, it was just a taste. It wasn't, the full dose, because it wasn't time yet. And the kingdom, which is going to be eternal, is going to be the full dose, Deuteronomy 28, first 15 verses, man, is going to be applied to the fullest. So we ain't gonna have no more need for the wicked. After 1,000 years where they served their punishment, we ain't gonna have no more need for the wicked, man. Which is where Obadiah 1 and 18 comes into play, man. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall be not any remaining of the house of Esau. For Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai has spoken it. And then even verse 9, man. 19, and they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau, and they of the plain the Philistines, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin shall possess Gilead. So the land that Esau was given to is going to be given to us. The original land they was supposed to stay in, but they fucked that up. They fucked that up. And then they went and, did what they did with the sword. Took the land from Japheth. Took the land from Jake. The northern tribes specifically. Took the land from, you saw what happened. Colonization, man. And it really started with the ancient Greeks, man. That was like the first wave. With the Alexandrian Greeks, to be specific. That was the first wave of that colonization, man. That first manifest destiny, man. And then Rome was like the second part to it. And then when Rome fell, Jake was ruling and shit, and they wasn't able to do that shit. And then the Renaissance was that third part, man, that little season, it's just a little season that, they're called Shaitan as well, Esau, because they're like they are the physical counterparts of Shaitan, man. So, they're called Shaitan as well. Which Shaitan means adversary. That's where you get the English word Satan from. Means adversary. And the devil, that's a false accuser, man. Hey, Psalms 50 really talks about these devils falsely accusing as well, man. Psalms 50 and 16. I'm gonna read from there, man. But unto the wicked, the Most High Power Yahweh saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth, claiming to be claiming to be Israel, claiming to be, the Jews, claiming to be, Christians, even the part where they claim to be so-called white, man, because the word white goes into pure, man, and there ain't nothing pure about them, and they're literally not white. They're literally different shades of red. Verse 17, seeing thou hatest instruction. Even took from that, like, going in on verse 16 more. Because in Daniel chapter 12, it says, many shall be made white, and they did a play on that, man. Calling themselves white, but they're not. Because nobody has First, nobody has white skin, and they knew this. So you know that's not what they was trying to say. They was trying to say they're the people of the book. That's what they was trying to say. But unto the wicked, the the real white people is usually so-called black people, Latinos, and Native Americans, and Israelite foreigners. Y'all are the real white people, man. Verse 16, I'm going to read it again, but just emphasize on it. But unto the wicked, the Most High Power Yahweh saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? Verse 17, seeing thou hatest instruction, and castest my words behind thee. Verse 18, when thou sawest a thief, then thou consentest with him, and thou hast been partaker with adulterers. Verse 19, thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. You know, literally their tongue, they use it like a sword, man. The scriptures tell you that as well, man. Verse 20, and they use it like, and the words is like arrows, man. Verse 20, thou sittest and speakest against thy brother, thou slanderest thine own mother's son. You know, there you go, man. Slander, to slander somebody is to falsely accuse somebody, aka be a devil. What they're doing with Diddy, why they made Diddy such a big deal, and what he did was wicked as fuck. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that it wasn't, but they blew it up out of proportion, embellished the stories and everything. You know, and the aim was to make you tribes look like y'all are the wicked people. That was the aim. That was the aim. To make you tribes look like y'all are the wicked people and they are the righteous. Which is part of Esau's programming, you know, to get people to really approve of coming down on you tribes, man. That's what it is. Verse 21, these things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was to gather such a one as thyself. They got high off their own supply. Hey, the Most High, they started really thinking that the Most High was a so-called white man, you know? That the Most High was a so-called white man, you know, and that his son was a so-called white man as well, man, with long hair, blue eyes, and you know, when the scriptures say that Yahweh's eyes were red with wine, they say he had blue eyes, you know, blonde, stringy hair, stringy at that, not woolly, stringy beard, you know, just pale ass skin. You know, they thought that he looked just like them. You know, they literally started to think that. Because why? Oh, he ain't doing nothing about what we're doing to these people. He must be like he must be just like one of us, you know. You know, these Edomites believe that the Most High ain't real, but if he's real, he's one of them. You know, that's what they believe. But that's that pride that they have, man. That comes before destruction. But anyways, yeah. But I will reprove thee. What is he doing right now? He's reproving these devils through the prophets, his mouthpieces. That's what he's doing. His messengers. He's reproving these devils, and also even causing these devils to reveal things about themselves, you know, but not all the way, because they're still devils, but because they have personal vendettas against the system that fucked them over. They're revealing shit about the system that the elites of Esau Edom spent billions of dollars, I'd say even more, keeping it from us because it's that important, you know, to them. But I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes, man. And that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. That ancient way that we was, man, is coming back, man. Starting with the elect is coming back, man. Hey, that 8-0 shit, you know, versus the tether shit, you know, that's a psyop But at the same time, it's the Most High Power Yahweh, you know, causing, lifting that notion, that stronghold that Esau put on our people, that skin color is everything, you know. That skin color is the final determinator, man. Because people, because they looking at, because it also is revealing that Ham, the actual Hamites is not the same people as so-called black people, man. It's revealing that as well, man. Even though it's a psyop, because they also look at so-called Haitians and Jamaicans sideways. But and those are Jake as well, man. But it's also causing, and a brother brought that out on Twitter, it's also causing, Jake to look in the lineage and shit, really according to the father. That's how Jake is not falling for come swallow, come Quaynala, man. Come Quaynala, man. That's also the reason why Jake is not falling for her, man. Because, hey, she's probably, I don't know, could be Eve, but she looks Eve. But this individual, this chick, Candace Owens, man, she actually has been coming against the small hats lately, and then she, got that backlash and was like, wait, so it appears that she got that nigga wake up call as well, man, and from that shit, and she went into the lineage of Kamala, man. She went into who she actually goes back to, and it's a fucking small hat on her dad's side, man. It's not East Indian or a so-called black person. It's a small hat. So she was, first she claimed East Indian heritage, man. First she claimed that. I'm the first East Indian, Asian, American senator, female senator from, California and shit, And then later on, she switched it up, started claiming she's so-called black, Like, and people will try to justify, well, she's both. Well, why use one than another? Why use one than another? That's manipulation. That's deception. But it turns out she's neither. It turns out she is actually a small hat. And this is what these small hats will do. They will do that shit. Purposely to deceive. They will do that shit. They will do that shit purposely to deceive, use. In this case, so our people will vote for Kamala, man. In this case, that. But so much has been revealed about her, it's just not working out, man. It's just not working out, man. And so, what I believe, this is me speaking as a man, is that they have decided to go with Trump, man. The elites. If that wasn't the original plan all along, it's their plan now, I believe. They've decided to go with Trump, and we're gonna see if they cancel the election. We're gonna see if they rig it and do all this shit, man. But, which could happen as well. But me speaking as a man, I believe that their choice is DJT, man. Because he's controlled opposition, And he's so pro-Zionist, that I believe that, yeah, man. Which Kamala is as well, but he's hardcore pro-Zionist. He's like a neocon warmonger, but with attitude, And that's what the people like, And he also says stuff that, the people, these people, they only talk about in their, specifically these low-level Edomites, they only talk about in the kitchen at dinner time, with their family members and shit. That they trust. But he's saying it out loud pretty much. Except for that, for making it completely blatantly obvious. Because he's also, looking for that Jake vote. They got to keep this illusion of choice alive. So that's what they do. He's, saying a lot of things that they say, man. So he's a neocon. Basically, he's a neocon warmonger, but with attitude, man. That's the difference. Hey, neocons with attitude, man. That's what he is, man. He's a neocon with attitude. And plus, them was so-called going after Trump, but really it was bullshit, was to build that street cred so that the people think, yeah, Trump, he's for the people. And this McDonald's psyop, which was a psyop. It was a psyop, it was a photo op. When you look, it was orchestrated. It was staged when you look into it. To make him seem like that man of the people, When really, as brother's been saying, he's Emperor Nero reincarnated, man. Once he gets up in there, man, he's gonna show his horns. I already started a little bit with just a tad bit, with that Operation Aurora, people was cheering it on. But with that shit about the Central Park 5, which is, because he's really aiming for that Judite vote, man. He's really aiming for that so-called black vote. So that them comments about the Central Park 5 kind of like, so he showed his horns a little bit to them, as if they couldn't see it when he talked about giving cops blanket immunity. But hey, you have Jake, and I understand, sick of the Dems and shit. I understand the Dems, they was lying, they were, but hey, the right wing and left wing are two wings of the same bird, the same hateful bird. And hey, if it is actually their plan to put Trump up in there in office at the end of all this shit, you gonna see. You're gonna see them horns, big as fuck, because it's really y'all being played as well, man. Just like Eve is being played, to they try and get in her to vote for Kamala, and simp so-called black men as well are being played to vote for Kamala. You Jakes that are so-called woke to what the Dems is doing and has been doing, y'all kind of being played because y'all not woke to what the Republicans is about, so y'all are also being played, Operation Aurora, one rough hour, man. Come on. You think these cops, hey, blanket immunity for cops, you think these cops is gonna stop at is just gonna go after actual criminals and shit? No, they look at all you tribes as criminals, man. They look at all you tribes as criminals, man. There's many cases of you tribes getting caught up because y'all look kind of like that dude that they was looking for. Or sometimes you don't even look similar. It's just because you're the same so-called nationality as that criminal or whatever that they're looking for, which is supposedly the reason for getting you caught up. But we know they have a quota to fill. We know the Fraternal Order of Police run that, man, and they're affiliated with the Freemasons. So we know that Esau is getting ready to come down with great wrath. Then you have that DOD directive allowing the military to fire on civilians. You had Trump talking about um, we're gonna sometimes we have to use the military, and you just put it together. It just looks like it's gonna be Trump to me, but I might be surprised. They might switch it up, put Kamala in there. They might switch it up, cancel the election, cyber attack, blackout lights out event, you know, just in time for the so-called elections. They might do that. Hey, they doing some shit in Cuba, man. But they ultimately did that shit in Cuba, really, when you look into it, to basically hamper the BRICS, man. To stop Cuba from going and applying to be a part of BRICS. Really, they did that for that reason. Because even though when you look into it, it's controlled opposition, still they can't have too many members on their side, man. Controlled opposition is controlled opposition, They can't have too many of them. That's also why Brazil is not going over there, and why they thinking of vetoing Venezuela's membership to BRICS, because it's controlled opposition. Adding Venezuela would actually, how much resources Venezuela has? Adding them to BRICS would be a fucking game changer. For both Venezuela and BRICS. It would be a fucking game changer. So you see what's going on, man. You see what's going on. They don't want them to get that big, but just enough to affect the US dollar and shit, enough to collapse it. So they could bring in that digital dollar, man. Which is just digital fiat currency, but so they could just bring that in and just implement this digital system, this digital grid, throughout the world, Everything digital, man. Everything that, man. Computer funny money. But yeah, man. Hey, these devils, man. It just shows you shit that this devil was doing. This former CEO of Abercrombie Fitch, just shows that this is Greek. This is hey, they are the Grecians too, the Greek-speaking Edomites. So you go to Joel chapter 3, and you go to that part about Jake being sold to the Grecians. That's speaking of those Greek-speaking Edomites. Joel 3 and 4, I'm going to start there. Yeah, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre, and Sidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head. And it's talking about the original inhabitants of that land, who were Hamites, who are today the indigenous Africans. They were pushed down there. Verse 5, because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. Verse 6, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Far from their border. You have to think, And you look at where Babylon the Great is, which is the U.S., and it is very far from our land, So you get the picture. And that's what they fucking did, man. Sold us to the so-called Grecians, which were actually Greek-speaking Edomites, man. And this is really that Alexandrian Greek civilization, as well as Rome. They actually mention them interchangeably because they're so similar. Greco-Roman civilization. This is the U.S., the so-called Western world, and the so-called Western world Edomite-run countries, EU and NATO. That's That's Rome, man. Revived. That's what it is. And it's two parts to it, the beast and the whore, you know? The whore, of course, Babylon the Great, America. You know, the great city because it's like me. And the beast, NATO countries, EU countries, the other ones. The whore rides the beast. But you even look at this, just as the man is the head of the woman, right? And the whore, you know, is that woman, right? That rides the beast. You know, the small hats, the least of the flock, Amalek, they're the head of this woman, America, this whore. America, aka Babylon the Great, they're the head, you know. Amalek is the head. And that's how this least of the flock, it all ties in, man. That's how this least of the flock is going to draw Babylon and then, you know, even these other NATO countries in, which ultimately they're going to turn on Babylon. Because it's affecting them, because they get no benefit out of it. But Jeremiah 50 and 45, therefore hear ye the counsel of Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai that hath taken against Babylon, and his purpose is that he hath proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least, and this is the modern day land of the modern day Chaldeans, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make, well, the spiritual Chaldeans, you know. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, though, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Verse 46, at the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, literally. And the cry is heard among the nations. Because the earth shall rock to and fro like a drunkard when this place get hit, man. It's literally gonna like be that way, man. Man. Yeah, calm, man. Yo, this is absolutely gonna happen, man. Salaki, I didn't mean to copy all that. Well, I meant to really bookmark, highlighting bookmarks, what I do. Isaiah 24:19. The earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. Verse 20. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fail and not fall and not rise again. Verse 21. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai shall punish the hosts of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. Who ultimately runs this world? Who is the God of this world? Esau Edom. God goes into power. Esau Edom is the top power of this world, man. Runs the world, you know. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked, right? But anyways, you know, and of course it's, the little earth is not going to be destroyed, right? As the scriptures say. Ecclesiastes 1 and 4. One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. So that tells you that it's talking about a system being brought down. But the earth is literally going to shake like that, though. You could imagine all the, that great earthquake, all these nukes that's going to hit, man. All these nukes that's going to hit. Mainly here in America. Also in other areas of the world, but mainly here in America. You know, great earthquake. Revelation speaks of it several times, man. And speaking about the same event, the stars of heaven symbolize the nukes. That's how he described. That's how Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai described it. It's not like Left Behind where they're described as different events. No. That earthquake will be caused by America getting hit with 200 million nuclear warheads. Revelation 6 and 12. And behold, when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Verse 13. And you got to think of what nukes do, man. Verse 13. And the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. Speaking of these nukes coming down, obviously not of a meteor or whatever. It's of these nukes. Verse 14. And the heaven departed as a scroll. It's how you know as well, when it is rolled together, mushroom cloud, and every mountain and island were moved out of their place. So this is going to be the end result of World War III, and how this place is going to fall. Which one way is going to really get popping is the least of the flock, drawing in Babylon, man, drawing in the whore that sits upon that beast, and getting hey, that's how both the whore and the beast is going to be drawn in. And then the beast, was basically, that's the EU and NATO. They're going to realize, wait, this shit ain't worth it. Wait, we're going to have to deal with all these refugees, man. This shit ain't worth it, man. And then our men are dying, man. And it's just too much of them. It's like Ukraine. And you look at how Ukraine is doing, and they're not doing too good, man. They're losing a lot of men to the Russians. They're having to just grab mental patients up. They're having to grab homeless people up. Just grab people up and just throw them into the front lines, into the meat grinder. That's how it's gonna get. It's gonna get like that. They're gonna be like, what, this ain't worth it. And plus all this backlash from our people, man. This ain't worth it, man. It's costing us a lot too. This ain't worth it, man. We're gonna have to do something about this. And they're gonna turn on the whore America. That's what's gonna happen. And they're gonna nuke this place. As spoken about in Revelation chapter 17, I'm gonna start at 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Showing how Babylon run the world. But verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. Verse 17, for Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, and to the words of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai shall be fulfilled. Verse 18, and the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth, which is ultimately America. But yeah, hey man, this place is almost over with and good riddance, man. Because of the abominations that's being committed in this place, man. Such as the ones that was committed by Abercrombie Fitch. Such as the ones that Diddy was doing in behalf of the elites. And really the Israeli Mossad when you look into it. All these, this place that, the prey departeth not, man. This place. That's like a hole full of snares and nets, man. You know, Nahum 3:1. That's why it's compared to a hoe or a whore. You know, because it's full of snares and nets. You know, Nahum 3:1. Woe to the bloody city! It is full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not, and this is spiritually Assyria. No, you're gonna say that this is talking about well, it was talking about ancient Assyria, but it's dual, man. It's talking about this place as well, man. Spiritual Assyria, oppressing both the northern and southern kingdoms, so it's also spiritually Babylon. Spiritually Egypt, oppressed both. Verse 2, the noise of a whip. Hey, spiritually Sodom, man. You know what that's about. Verse 2, the noise of a whip and the noise of the rattling of the wheels and of the prancing horses and of the jumping chariots. Verse 3, and you look at to how Assyria was in the last days, man, of its rulership. Assyria was full of abominations, man. The king was a transgender, man, when you look into it. And he was a transformer. You know, and he encouraged, and he did even worse, but he encouraged the women of Assyria to just be hoes, man. You wasn't a real woman till you was a hoe. And you see that going on here, man. You see that same spirit here in America. Verse 2, the noise of a whip and the noise of the rattling of the wheels of the prancing horses. Hey, no wonder Northern Kingdom got up out of there for the most part. And of the jumping chariots. Verse 3, the horsemen lifted up both the bright sword and the glittering spear. And there is a multitude of slain and a great number of carcasses, and there is none end of their corpses, they stumble upon their corpses. Verse 4, because of the multitude, and it's going to get that way, you know, going towards the end, because these devils is going to come down with great wrath, man. Verse 4, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, and also these Jakes that have been put to death here as well, you know, unjustly as well. Like since the beginning of this place, man. But verse 4, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts. Yep. And what was the serpent about, man? Witchcraft, man. That he was a warlock. So he put it together. This is spiritual Assyria. Verse 5, behold, I am against thee, said Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face. He's exposing this place, exposing the wickedness that the people that rule this place do, man. Such as what happened with Abercrombie and Fitch. He's exposing it, you know. Such as what happened with D, with Epstein. He's exposing it, man. Pizzagate, exposing it. You know. Verse 6, and I will cast abominable filth upon thee and make thee vile, and will set thee as a gazing stock. And that's what's going on with this place, man. That's what's going on. People are seeing it for what it actually is, man. And also, man, hey, I'm going to say something else. Yahweh Hashem Yahushai got both the deceived and the deceivers in his pocket, man. Both the deceived and the deceiver are his, man. And you see it, because you see what's going on. Basically, what's going on, these small hats, they're showing their ass, man. They're literally showing their ass, and they're having their puppets promote all types of bullshit, all types of abomination, you know, all types, man. You know where else they did that? You know where else they did that? I'm gonna go into it. Fuck it. They did that shit in Weimar, Germany, man. Fuck it. They did it back then, and they're doing it today. and they're pushing Trump as this, savior of Babylon and shit. On the other side, on the controlled opposition side. But he's gonna crack down on so-called anti-S speech. So Trump is not gonna heal this place, man. And come Quainala definitely ain't gonna heal this place. But this is also how Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai is casting abominable filth upon this place and making it vile and setting it as a gazing stock. That's what's happening. This place is a fucking gazing stock, man. You see what Joe Biden also, having him up there. That it made it a gazing stock, man. It still makes this place a gazing stock. Like, wow, how do they have such a? How did it? Look at Joe, man. Look at slow mo Joe, man. Look what he's promoting. Look at how he moved, man. How can America have such a leader as this? Even that, Kamala, man. But how she's slipping up. What kind of shit is this? How does America have leaders like this now? Even Trump. The shit that Trump be saying, man. There's some shit that Trump said about basically about Arnold Palmer's rod and shit. That was very suspect. And yeah, dude. But it makes sense when you look back to Trump and what he did with what he told Rudy Giuliani. And he knew it was him, dressed in drag, man. That the dude's Trump, man. He's not who people think he is. But even there, man, place is a fucking gazing stock, man. Verse 7, and it shall come to pass that all they that look upon thee shall flee from thee. And this place is spiritually Nineveh, Spiritually it's Nineveh. Spiritually it's that great city, And say Nineveh is laid waste. Who will bemoan her? When shall I seek comforters for thee? Places through, man, through. Verse 19. There is no healing of thy bruise. Thy wound is grievous. All that hear the bruit of thee shall clap the hands over thee, for upon whom hath not thy wickedness passed continually? And that's the same for America, the fucking hammer of the whole earth, which was also Babylon was called. Babylon the Great is definitely the hammer of the whole earth, man. The whole earth. Jeremiah, hey, bro, Kala, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushai Bahasham, Kakodash. This truth makes it all plain and clear. Jeremiah 15:23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? The hammer of the whole earth, There was it reminds me of this video by Wesley Clark, man. Well, this video that went into Wesley Clark exposing, General Wesley Clark exposing what countries was gonna be invaded after 9/11, man. It's like as the Clark 7 Nation War. You'll see what I'm talking about. I'm finna play it.
Right after 9/11.
And before I play it, this is what I'm gonna do. Because you know these devils. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for quote-unquote fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Alright, so I'm going to play it right now.
About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me, and one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you gotta come in. You gotta come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, "No." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail."
Boom, right there. Jeremiah 15:23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? There he said it, man. Rumsfeld, man. Fucking said it. Because, that's Babylon. Babylon is the hammer of the whole earth. It proves this place is Babylon the Great. Limpot. But anyways, hey, this place is Babylon, but Babylon the Great, aka the daughter of Babylon, beyond a doubt. Also, spiritual Assyria. In fact, this place is spiritually Nineveh, beyond the shadow of a doubt. And this place is going down, man. And then the kingdom comes next, man. And it's going down soon. Because the wickedness of this place is just astronomically high, man. It has reached unto heaven. Revelation 18:6. Well, wrong one. The 2 verses before. Revelation 18:4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues." Verse 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai hath remembered her iniquities. Hey, 6 and 7. But you get the point though, with 6 and 7. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double, according to her works. And the cup which she had filled to her double. Verse 7. How much she hath, everything they did to us, at least double, and I would say even more. It's going to happen to them. Verse 7. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she had said in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrows. No sorrow. Dude. Dude. It's... Dude, come on. This is that wolf-favored harlot, man. The mistress of witchcrafts. No, the master, but like female version. The mistress of witchcrafts that sell nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcraft. You know, this place is through. But anyways, because of shit like that, man. Because of, well, also that, because of these abominations that are being committed, man. And they got Jake all up in it, you know. This place is going down and soon. But anyways, I want to give all praises to, I hope this video is edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakal Kodash. You know, Shalom to the brothers, the sincere brothers and of that push that GMS and GMS and affiliate brothers in camps, and shalom to them, that be pushing that GMS and like-minded 144% truth doctrine, like wildfire. And shalom to spreading it like wildfire is what I meant to say, you know what I'm saying, right? Spreading it like wildfire, on a windy summer day. And shalom to the rest of the hopeful elect out there. Stay strong. A Bible ball. Abadla Adawamium, which means death to these Edomites. Bible ball means death to Babylon, by the way. In the ancient Paleo original Hebrew, the real and original language of our people. Abad la Gawayim, death to these heathens, and Abad, in that same language, and Abad la Ayab Yabnawa, death to our enemies, the rest of them being you wicked 2/3 here in Babylon, of you wicked Israelites scattered to throughout the world, man, who ain't gonna repent, who are mainly you so-called black people, Latinos, and Native Americans, but also scattered among the other nations, looking like the other nations, many of y'all are, Shalom, stay strong, Ababa Bo, Wa, Yashrala forever. Shalom.